Hello and welcome and happy Administrative Professionals Week. We are thrilled to be celebrating with you. We have an awesome program in store, getting people to notice you, cultivating high self-esteem. This has been a recurring theme over the last year or more of doing our free webinars, and we noticed a great need for this topic. And we've noticed that the great need was actually validated when we saw that our record had been broken and number of people registered for the webinar. We have over 4,000 of you registered for today's event. So that's huge. Welcome everyone as we see you logging in there on the chat from all over the world. Let me see if I can catch any of them really quick. Sterling, Ohio, Carleton, Texas, Quebec, Canada, New York, Idaho, Hudson Valley, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Detroit, Oregon. Oh my gosh, so many of you. Welcome and introduce yourself in the chat. We have a lot of wonderful updates and announcements and a special gift to share with you after today's educational program. So please stay tuned throughout the webinar for all of the exciting details. Before I turn the program over to Joan, I just have a few logistics to review with you. Joan will speak for about 40 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A afterward. You can submit your questions anytime throughout the webinar using the chat box. Just mark them as a question or hold them until the end of the event and ask them during that designated time. Please keep in mind that Joan may not be able to answer everyone's question as we have many attendees today, but we will be watching to see what you're asking, and we'll try to address those questions as best we can. We do have a handout today, and that link was mailed to you just this morning, as well as it's posted in the chat box, and our administrators will post that again for you a few more times to get everyone up to speed on downloading the handout on the blank so that you have some notes to accompany today's event. As always, Joan has a ton of content for you, and she will keep moving, so be sure to take your notes, and you will have access to the recorded webinar at the end of today's event. If you didn't catch something, please plan on watching the replay. You might catch something that you didn't catch the first time. We'll also be emailing a certificate to you later this week. So that will come along with follow-up notes from today's event and anything else that we wanted to share with you after today's event. So it may take a day or two for your certificate to arrive, but it will be sent via email. Now, I would like to introduce Joan Burge, visionary for the administrative profession since 1990. As the founder and CEO of Office Dynamics International, Joan Burge has been on a mission to improve the quality of work life for assistants and provide the necessary tools for assistants and executives to be successful in the workplace. Joan was the first to venture into administrative-specific, in-depth training and continues to be a leader. Joan is accomplished as an author with 5 books for assistants, a professional speaker, consultant, and corporate trainer. Office Dynamics International is a global industry leader providing high-performance, sophisticated executive and administrative assistant training, earning the respect of premier clients like Cisco, AT&T, Humana Inc., Sunoco, Procter & Gamble, Nationwide Insurance, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, just to name a few. Welcome, Joan.
Hi, Jasmine. Thank you so much, and welcome, everyone. Woo, we're so excited. Happy Administrative Professionals Week. And yes, we are thrilled about having over 4,000 registrants for this webinar. Thank you so much for helping us break our record. We really wanted to do this, especially in honor of Administrative Professionals Week. So thank you. I'm seeing Nigeria and Ethiopia and Chile. Wow, isn't this fabulous? We're all together. We're going to have an awesome webinar today. I am pumped. I am so ready to go. I even worked out at the gym last night to get an extra boost for today. I do want to give a shout out and a hello to the group of assistants at Walker and Dunlop in California. They have a whole group attending today, which, by the way, just to remind all of you, at any time you can get a group of assistants together and attend the webinar together, which is really fun because then you could also all talk about it afterward. So as we spend this week focusing on the administrative profession, there is no better time to talk about getting noticed all year round, not just during Administrative Professionals Week. You want to be noticed all year for your great skills and talents and attributes and attitudes. However, you have to really want it, and you have to see why it's important. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So we're going to jump right in. I am going to start with the why. There are 7 reasons, but let's make sure you have your handout. If you don't have your handout, then just take good notes. You will notice in your handout, this is a fill in the blanks, so you'll want to be good listeners, but I also will go back and go through the items in case you miss anything. So let's start. There are at least 7 reasons why you should want to get noticed in the workplace. So number 1, this is the first and foremost that I always tell assistants. There is no such thing as job security. There really isn't in today's day and age. And as quickly as companies are moving, companies are working lean and mean. I see tons of acquisitions happening, companies merging, and it doesn't always mean that they're going to keep the team that was in existence. Also, like I said, business moves very quickly and companies and organizations have to adapt. The other part of that is that sometimes your own situation might change and you're not going to be able to, stay within that organization. So why do you want to get noticed? Well, it's kind of a no-brainer. You want people to see you and know what you're capable of doing so that if anything should happen to you, they can possibly recommend you to someone else within the organization or outside. And I have the perfect story about that. I'll give you the short version. But in 1980s, I think it was the mid-80s, we were, well, no, that was Asheville. It was right after that. But we were living in Memphis, Tennessee. And I had gotten an executive assistant position with Sharing Plow, and I was with the Coppertone group, a really fun group to work for. And I worked for the vice president of marketing and planning. I had only been there about a year when the organization announced that the president of our division in Memphis was going to be retiring, and that there was going to be a lot of reshuffling. And we weren't really sure where the top executives were going to go, if they were going to stay in Memphis, if we were still going to have that Memphis facility open, or they were going to move all the top executives to New Jersey, where the mother company, as I call it, was. Now, within Sharing Plow, in that office there in Memphis, Tennessee, we had 3 groups. We had Dr. Scholl's, Maybelline, and I worked for the Coppertone group. We had several floors in that building. And while I was there as an assistant, of course, I got to meet a lot of people, and I made sure that I networked and I walked around the building and got to really talk and know people. And so when we were going through this big change and everybody was getting nervous, not knowing what was going to happen during that time and who was going to be let go, who was moving, who wasn't, what happened is one of the managers from the Dr. Scholl's group came over, he was an executive, and said to me, I know things are shaky here at the organization, and in case you're interested, my wife is the human resource officer at a large bank, Boatman's Bank, and they're looking for an executive assistant for their CEO, and if you're interested, I would like to introduce you to her. So I didn't know what was going to be happening, and I didn't want to just sit and wait for destiny, you might say. I chose to be assertive in my career. And so I did interview for that position, and I did get that position. But do you see, that executive had been observing me and watching me. And that quick, you won't know how things change for you. So that's why you want to get noticed. The second reason why is so management can leverage your talents. If your managers and executives don't know all your skills and talents because you keep them hidden, or maybe you're a quieter person, or maybe you're more shy, or you don't know how to bring those forth, they can't leverage those talents. So for me as an executive, I purposely look at all my staff and look for what do they do really well? What are their gifts? And how can I leverage that? How can I push assignments their way that are really going to leverage that talent, which is going to be good for them and it's going to be good for me. The third reason why you need to make sure you get noticed and your talents are noticed is it's going to make your work more enjoyable, because you're tapping into your natural gifts. And it's going to make work much more fun. You're going to feel less stress. You're going to be able to hopefully do work that you love because you'll be in alignment, and the list goes on. The number 4 reason is you are on stage every day. And this kind of ties in with number 1, but I don't want you to think of it as just a job security thing. You are on stage every single day. As soon as your feet hit your building and you walk in, people are watching you. They notice you, good or bad. And so as you walk into your executive's office, you are being noticed. As you walk down the halls of your building, people are noticing you. As you're walking through the cafeteria, when you go to a company, all company staff meeting, you are being noticed, you are being observed, you are being watched constantly. So the idea is you want people to notice your positive attributes. Everything from your body language to how you shake hands, to if you're articulate or not, your attitude, are you punctual? Those are all those types of things that people observe about you. And also keep in mind that people don't forget. I do not forget the star performers. I also do not forget the people who are very low performers. So, you know, I've seen it happen many, many times over my training programs in 25 years. In fact, I'll give you this little tidbit. I have had companies come to me whose assistants have been in my training programs, and they're looking to fill a high-level executive assistant position, and they've asked me how that person has performed in class. How have they behaved in class? Are they outgoing? Are they communicative? So as I said, just remember you're on stage every day, and you want everyone to see your great talents and what you have to offer. Number 5 is to, so that you will be given greater responsibility and more challenging work. So not just busy work. I know you're very busy, but what your job should be about today, what your career should be about today, is doing challenging work, work that makes a difference. The 6th reason, we're still under the why, and then we'll get to the how. The 6th is others can recommend you. So whether it's for a project or a promotion, you know, if I don't know what you're made of and I don't know what you're capable of doing, I can't recommend you. And number 7, probably the best reason of all, is because you rock. And people need to know that. They need to see it. Today, this profession is about the visible assistant, not like 20 and 30 years ago where we were the invisible assistants. So very quickly, the 7 reasons, I'll fill in the blank, and then I need to move on. So number 1, the reason, there is no such thing as job security. Number 2, management can leverage, that's the fill-in, your strengths. Number 3, your work will be more enjoyable. Number 4, you are on stage. Stage is the word every day. Number 5, be given greater responsibility is the fill in the blank. Number 6, others can recommend you. And number 7, because you rock and people should know you. All right, I want to just take a moment though to talk about comfort level. You know, it's easy when to sit here and talk about get out there and get noticed, but it's not in everyone's DNA. Some people do prefer to stay in the background. Some people are quieter. Some people are more shy. I obviously am not one of those, but I recognize that it's not in everyone's DNA to just get out there. I'd like you to think for a moment about the people you intimately know. Who of those in the group that you know easily can jump into conversations, can easily go to a networking event or a business event and they don't feel strange at all? Who else do you know in your organization that they're just out there, they're talking to everybody, they're talking about the great work they do, right? It probably comes naturally to them. But if it's not natural for you, I'm going to walk you through the process. If it is natural for you, please listen, because I know you're going to hear something that maybe you're not doing right now. And also at the end of the program, I'm going to share how you can stand out through self-leadership. So are you ready? Let's get started right now on how to get noticed. And I have 13 points plus self-leadership. So again, I'm going to keep going. You know, I just, as a side note, I always have so much that I want to talk to you about. And I apologize if you think I'm rushing, but I have about 40 minutes to give you all the nuggets that I've learned over 43 years of not only being in this profession, but studying this passion, loving this profession and loving this profession. All right, so here we go. Number 1 is to promote yourself. As I said, this is about being visible today. Promoting is not about bragging. So I have 3 points within that if you want to make a note on these. Number 1, don't let any of your positive accomplishments go unnoticed. Now again, this doesn't mean you have to brag. That's just one area that, you know, let people know what you've done. They don't always see everything you do. They're busy with their own workload. Within that, the second point is to be visible to the right people. You have to have a strategy on how to get in front of the right people. That is something I did when I was an assistant. When I physically could not be where the top level executives were in the office building, I had a strategy on how could I get in front of them. You know, if they don't see me, they don't know I exist, how can I ever get promoted? So think about, first of all, who needs to see what you're capable of doing, and then how do you become visible to those individuals? The third piece under promote yourself is to create an assignment that will bring you in close connection to people. So what could you create that will not only benefit the people you want to be in front of, but will display your talents? So one idea you can do that's really easy is to write a little internal department newsletter. Maybe you put something out monthly or weekly. I mean, if you're a good writer and you're also great with graphic design and you love to do that work, let people see those talents. So by creating that internal newsletter, you're going to give people good information, maybe just about what's going on, some new tips that you've learned. They'll get to see that you're creative and you're a great communicator, and they'll also see your design talents, and then possibly they can push work your way that's going to leverage that work, that talent. Number 2 is one of my favorite. impress people. And there are two ways. First of all, the way you impress is to be a person of action. You know, don't just sit there. Do something important. Do something relevant. Take the lead on a project. And be sure to walk your talk. Just don't talk about what should be done or what you think should be changed or what processes can be changed in your department or area. Take action. The second is to do something for others first. That's the best way to impress people. When you know and think about what people are striving to achieve, finding out what their projects are, what are their passions, what is their mission, what are they struggling with, and then you can send something their way that helps them or supports what they're doing, you're definitely going to impress people. I know I'm impressed every single time an assistant out there in the universe sends me something pertinent to the topics that I focus on or teach assistants, or things that they know I'm passionate about, like my big life principles. And those individuals stand out in my mind. And I say to myself, wow, he or she really knows what I'm about. They're really paying attention. So figure out how can you support others in the workplace, and that will be a great way to get noticed. The third piece is to know the decision makers in your organization and letting them know your talents. You know, that goes back to knowing the individuals that could really help promote you or could help, and I don't mean promote in the way of getting a new job. That's not what this is about. It's about promoting you as an individual. It's helping create win-win situations in the workplace for you. It could lead to you being asked to serve on a special committee. This reminds me of my daughter, Lauren, who I'm extremely proud of, who has been with the company for 14 years now, and she just started out as going in and assisting in a project management area. And she was such a great, and still is a great employee, that she has moved up over all these years, and they saw that she had talents. They saw that she was a good employee, and they helped support her with her education and moved her through the company. And now, 14 years later, she is Director of Human Resources. I'm extremely proud of my daughter. But you know, she worked for it and she got people to notice her. The next step, number 4, always do the best you can. You know, and Jasmine and I were just talking about an incident just a few minutes ago before we came on live with you. And it had to do with an email that Jasmine sent out as a very nice, here's what we're doing this week in honor of your profession. And she got back an email that could have been considered a little bit rude. But Jasmine, being the positive person she is, she tried to take a positive spin on it. And so, you know, something that little will ruin your reputation. Always, always, always put your best foot forward. It's plain and simple. Don't do anything that can harm your career and come back to bite you. Number 5, become an outstanding communicator. I know we all think we're great communicators. I think I'm a great communicator, but I know I'm not there yet. We could spend 10 full days in training covering communication, all the aspects of communication, and we still won't know everything. So I want to encourage you, the way you'll get noticed is by really crafting your communication skills, both verbally and in writing, and especially in writing, because we have so much going on now with texting and emailing. People's the grammar skills, the writing, the punctuation is horrible. And again, that's visible to people. So I want to encourage you to go out there. There's tons of information that can help you be a better communicator. All right, let me repeat the first 5 before we go on. And I see them coming through in the box. So thank you. We've got number 3, decision makers. Number 4 was always. Number 5 is communicator. All right, number 6, create a career portfolio. This is how you become visible. I just taught World-Class Assistant Part 2 last week here in Las Vegas. We spend a half a day on putting together career portfolios, talking about how to use a portfolio, what should go in your portfolio, the importance of it being organized. And a portfolio is not just for job hunting. It's a display of your talents. We have put out a ton of information on that. So the other part with your career portfolio, because maybe some of you already have one, it's not just putting it together. How are you going to talk about it? You could have a great product. That's you and your services. But if you don't know how to talk about yourself, if you don't know how to showcase your talents, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And, you know, Jasmine is excellent when it comes to the digital portfolios. So, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know, Jasmine, you'll have to correct me at the end of the program, that we did a webinar on that. I'm thinking a year ago, but I'm not sure. Number 7, comment on blogs. This whole month of April, we've been having a blogathon. And we love to give you information and ideas, but we also love to hear from you. So I know for me personally, when I blog, I am putting out my ideas and sharing what I've learned, but I also love to hear what you think. I mean, imagine there are 4,000 of you out there. Imagine if every one of you were to post just one comment, one idea, not a comment like, oh, that's great, I agree. Give us your ideas. Each of you would walk away with 3,999 ideas, not just what Joan Burge thinks. So I want to encourage you, not just our blog, but other blogs that are out there. Contribute. That's how you get noticed. And in fact, and I know, again, this is something Jasmine can speak to and knows more about, but many assistants are creating their own blogs. So that's another way that they're getting noticed. Number 8, participate in LinkedIn groups. Again, I don't know, Jasmine, I feel like you should take over this webinar. That's your area of expertise. I love LinkedIn groups. The hard part for me is my schedule. I already put in a lot of hours in a day, but I know it's on my list, something I want to get better at, joining in my LinkedIn groups, joining more groups. So Jasmine, I believe, has over 40 groups she already belongs to, but it's a great way to get noticed. Number 6, I love this one, and you might feel really shy about this, but it's good for you. Get yourself, get published in trade journals, administrative newsletters, administrative magazines, but you could also get published in your chamber magazine that goes out. Jasmine had an article, one of her articles published in our Las Vegas Chamber magazine, which our chamber is one of the biggest in the country. So that was really good for her to be viewed. Again, it's not about job hunting, but a lot of the vendors we work with, a lot of the people that we've hired has been through the networks that Jasmine has built, and people have come to our help, to our assistance when we've needed it because of the bonds she has built for us. So don't be afraid, get out there. Plus the other thing is, if you are more shy and maybe you don't actually like to physically go out and socialize with people or go to events where you don't know anyone, I know that feels really strange. This is a great place where you can network and be seen and interact with others who have similar interests. Also, with your internal communications, I want to encourage you, if you have a company magazine or newsletter or paper that goes out, or the intranet, I mean, wherever you can. Again, this is a way to be seen. I just thought of another story, but I'm not going to share the story with you. But I actually ended up, over the years, hiring various assistants for writing projects with me or to help with editing and proofing. And that's because I had observed and saw their writing skills in administrative newsletters and other places. So it didn't take away from their full-time job, but that it gave them some nice pin money on the side to go shop with. And we all know how us women love to shop. All right, let's see. We are on number 10. I hope everyone is still with us. And I will go back through these. So number 10 is to bring good ideas forward to your executive, to your department, or to the organization. You know how I got into training? I started when I was an executive assistant. At the end of my career, I started presenting very small workshops for the administrative assistants where I was working. I didn't ask for any extra money. I did it on my own time. But it was a great contribution to the companies where I worked. They loved the fact that I was bringing information that would help better and enhance the performance of our administrative professionals. Always, you know, thinking about the good ideas. You have good ideas, you really do. And you probably just put them aside because you're so busy. But you know, as an executive, I love it when employees come to me with ideas and I don't have to sit there and think of everything. But your ideas have to be practical, be visionary. Of course, you'd be visionary, but can they work? Have you thought it through? Think about the investment it will take. Is it doable? But again, like I said, bringing those ideas to management will always impress people and make you stand out. And speaking of that, we just did a great webinar recently with Darren Martin, who is going to be speaking at our conference this year. I'm so excited about Darren. He wrote a book called A Company of Owners. And that's exactly what he talked about, was being engaged as an employee. Don't see yourself actually as an employee, see yourself as an owner. And if you see yourself as an owner, you're going to act differently. Or is it different? When you're at work. All right, number 11, be poised, polished, and professional. Let me say this again. Be poised, polished, and professional. That's how you get noticed today, especially today, because we live in a world that is absolutely casual. Etiquette has gone by the wayside. Protocol has gone by the wayside. People come to work like they're going, I don't know where, hiking on the weekend, or cleaning at home. So if you will just raise the standard and be polished, be poised, use etiquette, dress professionally. I don't care if it's business casual, wear nice business casual. You will stand out because people are not doing that today. And you know what's very interesting? When executives and companies and corporate university offers call me, or CEOs, it's because they are not seeing the level of professionalism in their assistants anymore. They're not seeing the level of excellence and feel that the bar has been dropped. So I want to encourage you. It's not old-fashioned. I know many of you are probably sitting there and saying, well, Joan, you need to get with the times. You know what? I'm very much with the times. And I know what makes a person stand out because I hear it all the time from executives around the world. So I want to give you that golden nugget so that you can rise above the ordinary and be absolutely extraordinary. Number 12, let's go on. We have just a few left. Number 12, get noticed by displaying your special certificates or designations at work. I know many of you take all kinds of courses and such, so display those, put them out, let people see what you've been doing, that you are a go-getter, that you do want to continue your education. That will speak volumes as well. And also be sure to place those in your career portfolio. And then number 13, if you have professional designations, which I know many of you do out there, use them. So I know there's the CAP designation offered from IAAP, and many of you have those. We offer the CEAP, curriculum-based designation. It stands for Certified Executive Administrative Professional, which can only be obtained through attending our Star Achievement Series. No one else offers that special designation, not certification, designation. The other we offer is called the World Class Assistant Certified, so WCA Certified designation. So assistants who came last week, they attended part 1, they attended part 2, they had to pass a quiz, and they got their designation, which now they could proudly display on their business cards, on their signatures. If you have those designations, be sure to put them on LinkedIn and anywhere else where you are visible. So they're very powerful and will get you noticed. Again, it says you went to the next level. How are we doing on time? I feel like I've been on a roller coaster. So let's go back through the 13 points, and then I'm going to wrap up talking about self-leadership. So here we go. Are you ready? Looking at, let me get my notes, how. So number 1, promote is the word. Number 2, impress people. Number 3, know the decision makers. Number 4, always, put that in capital letters, always do the best you can. Number 5, become an outstanding communicator. 6, the fill in the blank is career portfolio. Number 7, blogs. Number 8, participate in LinkedIn groups. Number 9, get published in trade journals and any of your company internal communications. I'm on the how, by the way, if some of you are wondering. So we already did the whys, I'm on the how to get noticed. Number 10, bring good ideas forward. Number 11, be poised, polished, and professional. Number 12, get noticed by displaying your certificates. Number 13, if you have a professional designation, be sure to use it. Another way, of course, to get noticed, and it's a quieter way, but it's very powerful, is through leadership. So a few years back, Jasmine and I, we presented a 2-day hands-on workshop in 4 or 5 cities, can't remember now, called Mastering Exceptional Self-Leadership. We also recorded that 2-day event live. And I'll tell you the premise of that and the key areas where you can self-lead. So the premise is, well, let me tell you what it's not. It's not about leading others. So a lot of times you will go to programs that teach you how to lead others. This is about leading you. Because when you lead yourself in various areas, you will naturally lead others. You will be seen as a role model. How it helps you get noticed in the workplace? Well, it definitely gets you noticed. It's just a very quiet but powerful way to do so. So in your handout, I gave you the list of the areas we talked about in our 2-day workshop that are key and that I wanted to share with you. So lead yourself through self-management versus stress management. For years and years and years and years, people have talked about stress management. Well, for the past over 10 years, I've been talking about self-management. Self-management is internally, mentally managing what's your thoughts and ideas about what's happening right now. So it's really important to lead yourself that way, because what will happen is when you're in the workplace and you feel overloaded and overwhelmed and stressed, if you self-manage your thoughts, you will go about all the chaos in a calm fashion, and people will notice that. They will notice how you manage your attitude and how you manage interactions with other people. The second area that you can self-lead is in really juggling work and home. Now, I don't use the word balance because that doesn't exist today. And in fact, many organizations use the word integration. So the way you lead is by learning how to juggle and integrate your personal and professional life. And as you do that, the same thing, you will have a better attitude, which people will notice. You will approach your day differently, which people will notice. You will communicate in a different frame of mind, which again, people will notice. The third is to lead by creating transformative strategic partnerships. You know what? I'm going to brag about myself for a minute. I just have to, because I've been doing this for 25 years or more. And I was one of the first, or I think I was the first, to come up with the word strategic business partnership umpteen years ago. And I came up with it because executives were telling me that's what they were looking for, was a strategic partnership. There is a lot of great information out there today on a strategic partnership. What I want you to do is lead the way. See yourself as being strategic. What's the difference then in a partnership? Well, in a partnership, you're really creating the strategy of what the two of you are going to do in the future. Jasmine and I will sit down and we have, time that we meet and we look at the next 3 and 4 months out, and we both come to the table with our notes and what we know is going on. And we have a strategy. What are we doing? Who has to be involved? Do we have to outsource anything? What's our time frame? Do we have the bandwidth to do this? Her and I are strategic partnerships. And we were doing that before she became vice president of the company. That's how she got to vice president of the company. So there are many pieces of strategic, and you could check out our blogs and all the things we have to offer that will give you more information on that. The next part to get noticed is creating your professional trademark. Now this has to do with the all-encompassing professionalism. What we used to call professional image is not what we call it anymore. It's about building your brand. It's creating your trademark. And if you do not create your brand or your trademark, let's say, well, I don't want to create anything. I just am who I am. You know what? You're going to have one anyways, because people will brand you. So it's better you come up with your brand. That means your attitude, again, your body language, your verbal language, your tone of voice, how you dress, how you present yourself, how you manage the day-to-day of your job, how you not be overwhelmed by chaos. The list goes on and on and on, and it's all part of your brand. So that's how you'll get noticed in a positive way. The next, I see I've got to get going here. So 3 more: managing chaos at work. That's how you become a leader. And again, you will get positively noticed. Unleash your creativity. Oh my gosh. Every time I conduct a training program or a mini workshop, whatever it is, I see people unleash their creativity, but you know why they're unleashing it? Because I'm pulling it out of them. I'm stretching them out of their comfort zones. I'm making them think of things they have never thought of before. But people are creative. Assistants amaze me every single time I'm in a room with them. And then what happens when people go back to work? They get in their box again. And sometimes I know it's your executives and the people around you, or you might say, I'm too busy. I don't have time to be creative. You know what? It takes as much energy for me to sit here and be creative as it does for me to not be creative. You are creative. We're just all creative in different ways. So bring that forth. Let people see what you are made of, because you're spectacular. And the last is working in unity with your administrative peers. And the word here is unity. I know assistants work together. I know you schedule meetings and talk about calendars and travel. That's not what this is about. It's about really collaborating. And that's something now I'm starting to teach assistants in our STAR program, a full-day workshop on how to be collaborative with your peers. It's about supporting your peers, jumping in when they're against a tight deadline so that they'll jump in when you need that help. It's congratulating your peers. You know, this is the week of Administrative Professionals Week, and I know it's about you, and yay, yay, yay. What about the administrative peers who have helped you get to where you are today, or who have helped you this past year? Have you thanked them? Have you told them you're grateful for them? Because you know what? We can't do it alone. All right, Jasmine, I've been on fire this morning. I could probably go for another hour, but I know we've got to get to Q&A, and I know you have some really special announcements for everyone, so I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Joan. I'm just chatting with some of our friends here on the chat box. Okay, let's see. You've got your earbuds in, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'm just hearing some feedback on my end, so hopefully that's
I'll
not
put both in case.
Okay, so we do have a lot of questions, and we're going to jump into that first before we let everyone know about our special offer and some of the other fun things that are going on this week for Administrative Professionals Week. Okay. So let's see here, Joan. Several really great questions, a couple of them around the career portfolio. What I would like to do for the career portfolio is actually send everyone the detailed article that you have already written about what to put in a career portfolio, what a career portfolio is. So if anybody had a question about that, we're just going to go ahead and send that in the webinar follow-up. As far as questions go, let's go with this one from Robin. She says, the company I work for was recently purchased by another organization. The new parent company is located across the country. How do I find out who the decision makers are and get myself noticed by them?
Well, that's a great question, and that's challenging. So I've got to think for a moment. They're across the country, so if there's any way, so I guess what I would do, because I'm thinking about when we used to move out of state and I did not have a job, how did I get to find the top companies in the area? So find out, and you'll easily find this, is who is their director or chief of human resources, and that you can find, of course, on the internet, usually on everyone's company internet website page. I mean, the top people are listed, and I would send that person a very nice letter on nice paper, really basically saying that you are an employee of ABC company. So I would say I'm an employee of Office Dynamics currently, and I am aware of the acquisition that is going to be taking place, and you'd have to put a little more detail into it, but making them aware of you and that you are very interested in being able to stay with the organization and being able to contribute to the organization, and you would greatly appreciate it if they would be willing to take a few moments to look at your credentials and what you have to offer. And what you might do is keep that short. What's very clever, again, if you had the digital portfolio, which Jasmine talks about, you could easily, have a link in there where they could go to view your digital portfolio. In the short term, I guess they could put it on a thumb drive, Jasmine, right? If they wanted to send something, I don't know, Jasmine might have some ideas, but I would keep the letter very to the point, and really just displaying your interest. And then also you might go on LinkedIn, maybe to see are any of their assistants on LinkedIn who work in that company, that you could start connecting with them, bonding with them, just build rapport first. And then you can ask for the favor later. Jasmine, do you have ideas?
No, I think that's great, and it's a great start to get Robin started there. As far as the thumb drive, I would say it would be a lot more seamless to have a link to a digital portfolio that exists online, or a soft copy of something that they can share, so they're not having to mail something physically to that person, and that could be accessible even through the email message or a letter that they provide. We have a lot of questions that are pouring in, so I'm going to try and hustle because we still have a lot of announcements. Yes. Dolores really wants us to address her question about age, and her question is, what do you recommend when the first question is your age and you're told that the company is looking for someone younger? I'm assuming this is in an interview process and that she's being turned down because of age.
Well, I would check out the HR laws on that, because I know I'm not allowed to ask someone their age. So you could probably find that on the internet. Again, I'm sure, my daughter's an HR director. I'm sure she would say, you cannot ask any questions like that.
Yeah.
So, probably you want to shy away from a company who's asking you that, because they shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I would focus on, though, if not age comes up per se, but emphasize that you are a seasoned professional, and keep emphasizing the experience that you can bring to an organization.
Great. Yeah, and it looks like for a lot of our viewers, they're saying that that's illegal where they're at as well, yes, whether it's in the UK or the States. So thank you. All right, Dolores, hope that answers your question there. Lorelei has a question. She says about reputation. If you have a reputation that isn't necessarily the best at work for a number of reasons, do you think that can be changed, how you're perceived? And if so, how should she go about doing that?
It does. Honestly, it takes a while to change perceptions, because people have built that up in their heads already, and they're locked into it. However, you can work definitely at changing that starting today. First of all, identify what are the specific behaviors or actions that you think are creating people to have a different perception of you than what you would like. So you can hone in on those, and then think about what you're going to do to change that. So you've got to be very specific and start creating those changes immediately. Yes, people may look at you funny and think, hey, what happened to the old so-and-so? She's not, her usual self. Don't worry about it. Just keep putting your best foot forward, and in time you will make a dent in creating the reputation that you want to have, and it will just get better and better, but stay consistent with it.
Excellent. And I think that dovetails with the next question from Beth, which was, is it ever too late to rebrand yourself? She's been in the career for 20 years. So for the assistants who are seasoned, that you haven't arrived, you're not your best self yet, there's still room to grow, to continue to reinvent yourself, rebrand yourself. Right, Joan?
Yes, for sure. I'm still rebranding at 63 years old. So, it doesn't matter. Yes.
Okay.
You can do it.
Excellent. We have so many questions. They're really great. And just want to let everybody know, if we didn't get to your question today, we will be continuing to blog to offer these free webinars every month, and the blogs, of course, are quite more frequently than that. So please keep in touch with us there. I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit about our special offer, Joan, because I see we are running short on time. Is that good?
Yes, and I also wanted to say, Jasmine, after the announcements, I'd be happy to stay on another 5 minutes if anyone wants to hang out with us.
That's a great Administrative Professionals Week gift, isn't it? So we'll do that. We'll get through our announcements and do some of that Q&A. Good idea. Okay, and Joan, did you want to talk about our offer here, or?
Oh, well, I'm excited about our offer today because I was talking to you about the Mastering Exceptional Self-Leadership 2-day program that Jasmine and I had done. And we recorded that entire live event. So if you're watching it, you're going to feel just like you're there with us, and you will be able to pause the video at the times that we're doing activities with the group, and you'll be able to do it as well. Plus you get a comprehensive, I think like 70-page workbook we had with that, or somewhere around that number. And so we're very excited. This is normally $249 value, right, Jasmine? And today we're offering.
Yes, we are offering this program. It's Mastering Exceptional Self-Leadership, if you didn't catch that when Joan first mentioned it. And it is a $249 value. We're offering it for $79 for a limited time. And I believe that offer will expire on May 10th. So you can learn how to lead yourself in the supersonic business world with this online program. In addition, we have some other announcements for you, but we wanted to let you know about the special offer. We always have a special offer for you at our free webinars to take advantage of some of our training programs at a deeply discounted rate. So that is what we're offering for you today. And we are also hosting what is known as an administrative blogathon, if you've never heard of it. We have been going at marathon pace since April 1st, every single day posting at least one, and now more blogs per day. We've got partners that have joined up with us that are posting blogs with us on the site. So that's at officedynamics.com/blog. And it's been a lot of fun, and it's all been around enhancing your skill as an administrative professional. So all of the blogs that are posted on the weekdays have been focused on growing your skills in some specific way. Today we had a post from the exceptional EA. I believe her name is pronounced Shayla or Sheila Donnelly, and she actually talked about how to break through a career plateau if you're an administrative professional that's that. So every single day, tons of great information. And then the fun part is when you comment and share your insight or your experience in that specific area on the blog, you are entered to win prizes. And we are giving prizes away. Lots of prizes this week. We have magazine subscriptions from Executive Secretary Magazine. We have Office Dynamics online programs and products and services. We have a blog coming out this week from Travo, which is a new tool for administrative professionals on travel planning. Office Ninjas has posted a blog with us, and they have a whole event going on this week called Admin Week. So just a ton of things going on. I think All Things Admin actually did a detailed list on her site, Julie Perrine, allthingsadmin.com, where she has everything that's going on this week in your honor or this month that you can take advantage of. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Joan and I were just talking about how it can make your head spin, how much is going on out there, but it's all in honor of you and your chosen profession, and just letting you know, even if your executive or your company doesn't celebrate Administrative Professionals Day, we do, and we're here for you, and we're here to celebrate it with you. So please take advantage of those things. And we will be sending out more details about our next webinar, which will be with the very popular guest, Peggy Vasquez. She'll be coming back and joining us in May. So watch for the email follow-up from me that will tell you about how to register for the webinar with Peggy. And I think that is the majority. Oh, no, I missed one really important thing. Yeah, too. Actually, today I'm going to be on Facebook Live on the MOST training, MOST Training Facebook page. MOS Training, I believe, is how it's spelled. So facebook.com. I'll be there at 1 o'clock Pacific time, and we'll be talking more about ownership and accountability and your administrative career, doing questions and answers, just taking over her page and having some fun with it. And tomorrow, Joan and I are going to do a Facebook Live broadcast together on the Office Dynamics Facebook page at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So if you didn't get enough today, you want to join us over there and talk about the administrative profession and ask questions while we're live, just have a chat. It's in honor of you, Administrative Professionals Day. So please, plan on joining us and celebrating with us. Pop in and say hi while we're on live. And did I cover all the announcements, Joan, or is there anything else you want to add in there?
That's all the announcements. I did see one question we got was that in US dollars, the $79 for, so yes, for all of those, our international fans, it is US dollars.
It is, and because it's a digital program, you get your access, you get your credentials right away from us, and you can start watching that program as soon as you would like to. And it doesn't expire, and you can watch it as many times as you want to, so it's actually really great value. You can add that to your learning library. Okay, so Joan, let's get back to some of the questions. We have a lot of them, and we'll stay on for the next 5 or 10 minutes answering. So let's see here. Do Jasmine or Joan have plans to offer training in any cities other than Las Vegas?
I'm laughing because that's been quite a discussion we've had this past year, and we talk about it, and the reason being it's logistically it is a lot of work and commitment, and so we don't mind doing it. We just want to make sure people are going to show up if we do it. So that's the key. We can go to these cities, but if we don't have the people showing up, 30, 40, 50, it's difficult. So, however, we're really thinking about it because now that we have this venue and platform to tell the world about what we're doing. So it's in the works. It's definitely not off the table. We are thinking about it, and we would target specific cities where we think we would have, a lot of our fans that would love to come. I have a question. Could we do a quick poll?
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't prepared for this, but speaking of us coming to other cities, Jasmine, I'm not sure how you'd word this.
Okay.
But I'm curious about if it would be better and easier for you to get approval for a 1 day, or would you prefer 2 days of intense learning? Last time we did a 2-day event, and my thought is to maybe just hold a 1-day event. So I don't know, if you could word that in a poll, Jasmine, finding out if your preference would be 1 day or 2 day. Obviously, your 2 day is going to be, a little more money-wise, but you would have 2 days and really get saturated into content.
Okay, starting the poll now.
Yeah, well, they're going. Keep going. Let us know.
Okay, great. Oh, it looks like they're answering there in the chat too. So the poll's there. It looks like the majority are 80% 1 day, 20% 2 day. It's kind of toggling between those two numbers with each answer.
Okay.
Like a percent or two.
I'm curious, city-wise, I know cities that might be really good that we've been in before. Chicago, we feel is a great city because it can draw in, a radius around Chicago. Mm-hmm. We also were in San Jose. We got an excellent crowd, over 40 people in San Jose. I think Atlanta was good for us. So what major city might be near you if we were to pick 4 or 5 cities, across East Coast to West Coast?
Okay, and that just answer in the chat for us.
Yeah, you can just put it in the chat for us because we'll look at that later.
And our web admin will just make sure that they copy that over, make sure that we don't lose any of that data. I see a lot of DC and Columbus. Joan's in Columbus a lot. Omaha, hey, shout out to Omaha. That's where I used to work before I moved to Vegas to work with Joan.
I think New York would also draw in the East Coast and Boston, maybe. I'm not sure, but
yeah, they're coming in so fast.
oh,
Thank
Orlando.
you guys for doing that.
Oh, we're going to be in Orlando coming. Speaking of Orlando,
We are.
in June. We're
going to be
where?
At the Admin Pro Forum with our friends at Business Management Daily. They're hosting their first conference. And Joan will be there as a featured speaker, along with Lucy Brazier and Julie Perrine and Laura Stack. And I'll actually be there on a panel and working on additional like panelist type session in the area there. So in Orlando in June, I believe the 15th, 16th, or 17th, somewhere around that week. You can go to adminproforum.com, I believe is what their website. So we'll be there this summer together.
I'm looking, wow, Jasmine, I think we're just going to have to get a big mobile bus next year, Brian, and we'll just take a year and go to every city and say hi to all of you.
As long as I don't have to drive it.
We go in the Guinness Book of Records.
Just hit all the cities. We're going to see everybody. How about that? All right. So there's a couple other questions. Let's get to those really quick.
Yes.
When you are overwhelmed, which I know a lot of us are, especially in this role, both personally and professionally, how do you keep everything from colliding?
This goes back to the self-management that I was talking to you about. So one is you have internal tools and you have external tools to help you when you feel overwhelmed. And I often feel overwhelmed. So internal, meaning the mental. If I sit here and tell myself, oh my gosh, I have so much to do and I have so little time, and when am I ever going to get this done, and how am I going to fit this in, and I've got to get that proposal out, I've got to get this training program written, and then I've got to do this handout. I'm just going to get so worked up that I'm not going to be able to function. What I tell myself is I will get it done. Mm-hmm. I will take a chunk at a time. I will focus on what I'm doing right now, and I will move on to the next thing. So mentally, you've got to tell yourself that you will handle it, that you will get done what is humanly possible in the hours that you have in the day, and also that you are going to focus on what is most important. We get caught up in a lot of the busy work again, and that makes you feel overwhelmed. And then the external tools, you being organized, having a follow-up system is very important. In other words, I don't focus on things that are going to be done next week. They're in my follow-up system in my drawer, actually. So I'm not even thinking about those today. Today I'm focused on what do I have to do in the next 24 hours. So that's the system Jasmine and I use often. Any other tools that are going to help you get organized, whether they're electronic tools, the ability, like I said, to stay focused. Some people do need lists, but also you could spend a lot of time just creating the lists and checking the lists off. But I know Jasmine has some great ideas on what she uses, and I think you use lists as well, Jasmine. What external tools do you offer or suggest?
I don't, did you talk about Live a Big Life, the book? I mean,
no.
I know it's your book, so maybe you don't want to, but I think that you really talk about a lot of that balance between the two, and maybe not necessarily balance, but integration, presence. I saw some people saying earlier, harmony between work and life. You would address that in Live a Big Life and your experience over the years with that. So I think that that's a good resource too.
Yeah, so give yourself permission to live a big life. In case you're not aware of that book, I wrote that a few years ago specifically for women of all walks of life. And it's a memoir type book, but it's about overcoming obstacles and, being that woman out there in the world, and how do you kind of manage everything without, losing yourself. So we do sell that at Office Dynamics.
Yeah. All right, Joan, I have a question here. It kind of makes me mad, actually, that this is the case. So this is Judith, and she's got she says it's a sad situation, and I agree, that we, the administrative staff, are not even listed on our organizational chart here. We quite literally are invisible. So how can we make changes about that?
Okay, Judith. Thank you, first of all, for the question. But yeah, sorry about the situation. A lot of assistants are not on organizational charts. I'm not saying I agree with that. But you start out with baby steps. If I think back about my career and how did I, what did I do again to get noticed? One thing is you might want to think about unifying as a group, so there is strength in unity instead of trying to create change yourself. But it's doing it in a positive way. So what that would look like is for you and your administrative peers to get together maybe every other month or monthly and have an hour session on lunchtime and start to talk about ideas and what you could do to help your organization be even more successful. So you come to the table with ideas where there are gaps, first of all, and then start coming up with ideas of how you could streamline or what processes can be streamlined. How can your organization, how can you help your organization save money? So the idea is you want to be a very positive catalyst and come up with some ideas that then you would formally present to management. And again, if they're good ideas, management's going to be interested in hearing what you have to say. And you will become more recognizable and eventually, after time, it does take time, be viewed more as their business partners. And that's it in a short piece, but if you go to our website, I believe there's articles I have. Also look up what we might have on our website as far as administrative teams, because in a lot of organizations, they have formed, administrative professionals have formed formal teams, and they are making a huge difference, but they're not trying to go at it alone.
Yeah, definitely an internal assistant network. And I think by having that, you start to create a voice for yourselves, a unified voice. So that's a good idea, Joan. We still have 829 people on the live broadcast with us, and we're like 11 minutes over, but there's so many good questions coming in. It's awesome. So I have there, and a lot of assistants deal with this, Joan, but how do you deal with the, and Amy calls them the curmudgeons, who treat administrative professionals as second-class citizens? Fortunately, a lot of us don't have that experience any longer, but I think all of us have had that experience at some point or are experiencing it right now in our career. And so how do you just deal with those people?
So a couple of thoughts going through my mind, and we just talked about this last week at World Class Assistant when I was talking about paradigms and how do you change people's beliefs and perceptions of you, and we talked about all the stereotype things that are out there for assistants. But one, I think first of all we have to recognize and agree that there are people we will never change. I've personally gone in and coached executives, really only one in particular out of 150 who I could not get to change, and I worked at it for a long time, but those are good statistics. However, there are many managers and executives who will change, and they may not even be executives. They could be your coworkers, right, who are having that attitude about they're better than you. So one is to continue to be your very best. Just remember, you never want to lower yourself to anyone else's standards. Always hold your head up high. Don't give in and don't let people antagonize you. That's the worst. So be polished, be professional. At some point, you may have to actually verbalize to that person that the way they are speaking to you is unacceptable. And I had to do that in my administrative career. Actually, it was somebody who was talking behind my back. So that was even worse. But I did approach her on it, and I did tell her that behavior was unacceptable to me. And in the future, if she had an issue with me, I expected her to talk to me face to face. So at some point, you have to decide when you want to step up to that person, but you do it nicely, you're professional, but you're serious and you're assertive and you choose good words instead of saying, you know, you don't treat assistants well, or I don't like the way you talk to me as an assistant. No, it's that I don't accept, you know, this language, this behavior, and then set up the expectation for what you do expect.
Okay, excellent. I was just answering a few questions back in the chat there too, but there were some questions about, will there be a replay? Yes. Will we be answering the questions in the handout? If you just tuned in, or if you missed the answers in the questions in the handout, we've already gone through that portion of the program, and I would recommend actually rewatching the replay or watching the replay to catch all of that information, because it's a lot more than just fill in the blank. Joan added a lot of detail to every single one of those points. So you want to watch the replay to get that knowledge from Joan on what she answered there, as opposed to just filling in your blanks, because there's a lot of wisdom there. And the other is there a certificate? And yes, there will be a certificate, and it will be sent in our follow-up notes, which actually takes me a couple of days to accumulate. I'm going to comb through the chat. I'm going to pull links that were talked about. I'm going to talk about some resources that Joan mentioned and share all of that with you in that email, so that you've got everything all together, and that should come to you before the end of the week.
So should we just go a few more minutes? How many are left with us? How many are on?
We have 763 still on live with us.
We go about 5 more minutes and we'll answer as many questions.
Really great question from Diane, Joan, and she says, I feel like there are a lot of silos at my work. I want to grow and help in different areas, but I feel a wall or a straight up decline from departments that are in control of it.
Is that, I'm assuming that's with the assistants that you're, that are controlling it? Is
I guess it could be two ways. It could be the assistants that are blocking it off, maybe in fear of sharing anything in their department, or it could be maybe Diane's trying to reach out to other areas to offer some support or help, and they're getting that feedback or that blockage from higher ups because of the silos.
I guess where I would start from a strategy perspective is there's got to be one person somewhere in that area who's going to open to you. You know, I can't believe everyone will block you out. And so what I would do is I would work my way through somehow getting to each person in that area, whether it's through sending them a compliment, you know, through an email, placing something on their desk and leaving it for them. I mean, you just got to be really crafty and creative some way. And normally, too, if you're persistent, eventually someone will crack, as I call it. Because even while people have up facades, I found if you continue to be nice and put your best foot forward and show an interest in people, eventually 99% of them will open up. So that's how I would do it, just very small, one by one, until you find that one person who's willing to open up with you.
Excellent. And one more question, Joan, and then I think we should cut it off because I'm not sure how the replay does work with this. So, and that's Francie asks, I've been asked to be a leader in my organization among her peers. So she's asking, how do you suggest I approach this with other admins in my organization?
Okay, so she's been asked to be the leader.
To lead the, maybe the admin network or the administrators at the organization.
There's, I'm just wondering if there was a way we could have her email address, because it's not a short answer.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it here. I'll just do a copy and
so we can get the email address, and then I can write that specifically on the individual. Maybe we could post it as a blog too.
Okay. Perfect. I grabbed your email address there, Francie.
I guess we have taken up a lot of your time today, but I'm so happy you've stayed with us.
We have, definitely. And of course, like I said, join us tomorrow on Facebook Live at 11 a.m. Joan and I will be there on the Office Dynamics Facebook page. If you have time this afternoon, stop by and see me on the Most Training Facebook page. And again, come to the blog, enjoy the blogathon, and if you are interested in today's offer, Mastering Exceptional Self-Leadership, that will also be at a discounted rate on our website. No coupon code needed. It's $79 right now. So go check that out as well. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Happy Administrative Professionals Week.
Thank you so much. My final words is we love you guys. We really do. I've been doing this for over 25 years. And we just are so passionate about you and helping you be successful. So all of us at Office Dynamics wish you a very happy Administrative Professionals Week. And remember, you rock.
Awesome.